Alright, this next story is just nuts. Being in prison would suck. Losing your freedom sucks. I'm not saying everybody there doesn't deserve it. I'm sure like 90% of people that are in jail, there's a reason they're there. But one thing that would really add to the sucking in jail is if the guards just started challenging you to wrestling matches during their second shift. And apparently that's what was going on in a prison in the United States of America, baby. 3 sheriff's office employees out after staging wrestling matches with inmates. I just love that they got so bored of guarding the prison, they decided to set up their own like WWE federation to make things a little bit more interesting. Do you think they were coming up with like wrestler names, or were they just calling each other John, Joe, like Dan? I wish they would have just started making up like new things. One of the guys comes in draped in toilet paper. It is I, the great Houdini. I will make my enemies disappear. They're like throwing chairs at each other and whatnot. What happens if the prisoners are just way too good at wrestling and just beat all the guards? Do they just walk out of the jail? I just feel like this is just such a dumb idea. Not to mention, lawsuit waiting to happen. Morally wrong to use your power of authority to like wrestle with prisoners. Like that's already wrong, you know. But on top of it, it's a matter of time till a prisoner gets hurt and then makes us, the taxpayers, pay like a fat settlement because it was in a state prison or whatever. Overall, if you are a prison guard, just don't wrestle with the inmates. How does this even like come up and everyone signs off on it too? One of the guards was sitting there, man, it would be sick if we wrestled these guys, huh? And the other guard was like, that's the best idea that I think you've ever had. One Fairfield County Sheriff deputy was fired and 2 correction officers resigned following a late June incident in which they were wrestling with inmates on the second shift, Sheriff Alex Lapp said on Thursday. He said corrections officer Kyle Archibald and deputy Sean Pettit and corrections officer Landon Talbot staged matches with 3 inmates. There were no injuries, and Lape said one of the inmates said the matches were consensual and the inmates and employees shook hands and hugged following the matches. Alright, at least the inmates were like not being forced to do it, but still, if you're a prison guard, it just seems like a pretty obvious no-no to not wrestle with the inmates and stage matches. It makes it even worse that it was 3 people that got together and thought it was a good idea. You know, one person thinking something stupid, it happens. Everyone's had a horrible idea. Look at this entire channel. But at the same time, you know, if 3 people all sign off on a bad idea, then all 3 people are not the sharpest tools in the shed, and someone should have said, this is a bad idea, guys, we're gonna lose our job. One guy said to the other one, let's stage wrestling matches with the inmate. Oh, that's a sick idea. Let's get another guy in on it. They go to him. Dude, hear us out. This idea is awesome. You know how we're supposed to guard the inmates? Well, what if we said, we're gonna guard our belt for the championship, baby. We wrestle them. We set up matches. What do you think? Huh? I think that you guys are genius. Like, dude, all 3 of you guys thought of this and didn't think that it was going to end horribly. What did you think the sheriff was going to do when he found out about this? Oh, it's all right. They're just having fun wrestling with the prisoners. No, man, he's going to have to shut it down and you're definitely going to lose your job. Prison guard is one of those jobs I feel like you're not allowed to have a bunch of fun in. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. If you really wanted the ability to like set up wrestling matches and goof off, you should have gone like the Dude Perfect route. Prison guard is not the job for people that want to be goofing off while they're working. He said the wrestling match was a violation of several rules of conduct, and it's pretty obvious you can see that could have gone bad in 100 different ways. As I said, it's unacceptable behavior and it's not going to be tolerated. He said some employees who just completed training will fill in the spots of the 3 employees who left, and he said there will probably be some overtime in play as well. Honestly, like if all 3 of the dudes just get overpowered and beat up by the prisoners, now the prisoners are just in control of the prison. I don't know how many guards are on the second shift, third shift. I don't even know what any of that means. But yeah, you hurt the inmate, you get hurt, the inmates take something off your belt while you're wrestling. Like, who knows, man? There's so many ways this could go wrong. And then beyond that, yeah, I feel like prison guards just can't really be putting their hands on prisoners that way unless they absolutely have to. Like, unless they're breaking up a fight or being attacked. Probably just not a good idea to go around challenging them to wrestling matches. Even if you really, really want to do your best, like Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. It's just not the time to do it on the job. The three of you guys, if you wanted to wrestle that bad, like if the three of you were so bent on wrestling, you could have just done it after work. All three of you like wrestling. You got a ref and then you take turns fighting. There you go. You didn't have to do it in a prison. It's also insanely dumb because if anywhere is going to have like really good surveillance and be able to check every nook and cranny and figure out exactly what happened, it's a prison. Come on, like this is the dumbest place to try to get away with something like this, especially because they just did it in the middle of like one of the rooms. Yeah, man, they have cameras for that. It's a prison. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Apparently, what else was said in the article is that they got away with it for 5 days before someone told, which is enough time for them to probably think they got away with it. Like, if they did it and for 5 days they didn't get in trouble, nobody came and asked them what happened, nobody started asking questions, they were probably high-fiving each other in the break room. Dude, no way, we got away with our wrestling league. We should turn this into a YouTube channel. If they were dumb enough to already do it, they were probably dumb enough to start vlogging it, let's be honest. And then all of a sudden they get called into the office. We're hearing rumors that you guys have been challenging the inmates to wrestling matches. Is there any truth to this? Ah, crap. And yeah, believe it or not, once you confirm that you were challenging inmates to wrestling matches, they got no choice but to let you go. I guess one guy got fired and the other two technically resigned. But that's the most technical resignation of all time. Like, if one of you already got fired and the other two of you go, you can't fire me, I resign. Like, I mean, technically you resigned. I guess it would look better on your resume. Oh, I resigned from that job. And I don't know, man. You're kind of like really stretching the limit of the definition of resign. Either resign or we're going to fire you is probably what went down too. I don't know if they resign, if there's something like with benefits or whatever, if they can't really be held as liable or whatnot. But yeah, either way, if you ever find yourself in prison and the people start challenging you to wrestling matches, just report it to their boss and they'll probably do something about it. I don't know that for sure, actually. Don't take that advice. I'm the last person to take advice from when it comes to anything in prison. I just thought this was nuts. I can't believe people actually thought this was a good idea, bro. Every time I do this podcast and I go over these weird news stories, I'm like, people can't get dumber. And every single time I think that, they find a way to get dumber. Never ever think that human stupidity can't get deeper. It's like an infinite well, bro. If we had a well as deep as human stupidity, we would not have any water problems. We could provide clean water to everyone. And apparently no one can do that, dude. Like, because even Jackson, Mississippi don't got clean water. But that's an insane situation that's completely different. Whatever. Either way, don't challenge people to wrestling matches if you're a prison guard. And just, I don't know what these people were thinking. We're moving on, though.